Welcome to the Wisdom That Breathes channel. Across all our platforms, we try to share wisdom which is relevant and accessible to everyone. But on this particular platform, we go deeper into some of the ancient principles found within the scriptures. If you find some of the terminology difficult or inaccessible, then go over to our Keshava Swami YouTube channel where you'll be able to find other content which is perhaps more relatable. Thank you and enjoy the wisdom that breathes.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you again everyone for coming and giving me an opportunity to share something. It's very wonderful to hear about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj. Of course, here in Bengal you are lucky, you know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Other places you go, around the world, even other places in India, people do not know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the manor, Bhaktivedanta manor, we have Radha Gokulananda, Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman, and then we have Gaur-Nitai in the middle of the altar. So once I was in front of the altar and then one family came. So someone was showing them around, one of the family members. So he pointed to Radha and Krishna and he said, "And this is Radha and Krishna." So I was there listening. "This is Sitaram, Lakshman, Hanuman." I was listening. Then this person, he pointed to the middle two deities and he said, "And this is Love and Kush." So people are not aware. Even people who have sometimes been coming temple so long time. First time I came into the manor, there was this Panchatattva picture. Mahaprabhu has long hair, no? I was thinking, why is Jesus Christ in the temple room? To me it looked like Jesus Christ. We are not aware. Isn't it? It's very rare that many people do not know. Channa Avatar, Mahaprabhu is coming in a covered form, so many don't know. And even if they know, they think Mahaprabhu is just a saint. So therefore the devotees are trying to make everyone aware about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is very, very important. In Scotland, this is another country in UK, the devotees were trying to encourage everyone to say Gauranga. So everywhere they would go, they would always tell people, "Can you say Gauranga?"
Gauranga.
So sometimes they would order a bus and then the whole bus they would cover with Gauranga and then they would drive through the town so everyone would see Gauranga. Another time they hacked into 500,000 email addresses and they sent a spam. Chant Gauranga and be happy. So actually it came up on the FBI website. US have the FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Who are these people? What is this Gauranga? So another thing that they used to do is, on the motorways, many cars are going and then they have bridges. So what they would do is in the middle of the night, when everyone was asleep, they would come to the bridge and they would make these huge signs, G-A-U, so huge, Gauranga, they would paste it. Then in the morning, everyone would be driving. So everyone would see on the bridge, Gauranga, Gauranga. So if you go today to the north of England, you go on the motorway, practically so many bridges, Gauranga. So once I was on book distribution, so I gave a book to someone and I said, "Can you say Gauranga?" He said, "Gauranga? I know Gauranga." I said, "How do you know?" He said, "Gauranga everyone knows." I said, "Really?" He said, "Yeah, that's the company that makes all the bridges on the motorway." So I told him it's not quite like that. But it was very powerful because actually Gauranga builds the bridge, The ocean of the material world, who can cross? Very difficult. Very difficult to cross the ocean of the material world. But Gauranga builds the bridge, so you can go. Therefore, Karayana Vatirna Kalo Samarpayitum Unatva Jala Rasam Svabhakti Shriyam. This is very beautiful. Mahaprabhu is known as Karuna Avatar. Karuna, all of you know, no? Means mercy. So one teacher, he is explaining what is the difference between Kripa and Karuna. Both mean mercy. He said Kripa is mercy that you have to ask for. Gurudev, Kripa bindu diya. Please give me some mercy, O spiritual master. So Kripa means mercy that you have to ask for. Karuna means mercy that you receive even when you don't ask for it. So therefore Mahaprabhu is known as Karuna Avatar because he is giving Patra Patra Vichar Nahi Stan Je Jane Paye Tane Kare Prema Dhan. He is not considering this is a good place, this is a bad place. Everywhere he goes, he is simply giving prema to everyone. So Karuna comes to you. Just like if you are in Sridham Mayapur and you want to get the mercy, then you have to come out of your room, you have to walk, and then you have to go to the ghat, and then you can bathe in Ganga. But at certain times of the year, the Ganga overflows. And if you are in your bedroom and you oversleep, the Ganga will come and bathe you. This is Mahaprabhu. He comes, he does not wait. He comes to give the mercy. So therefore, actually in this age, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the only hope. Prabodhananda Saraswati, he writes a very beautiful book, Chaitanya Chandramrita. And he is in love with three things. Prabodhananda Saraswati is in love with Sri Vrindavan Dham. Prabodhananda Saraswati has great love for Srimati Radharani. And Prabodhananda Saraswati has incredible love for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And therefore he writes many, many verses, controversial verses. Sometimes he'll write in Chaitanya Chandramrita, what is the value of Nishingadev? What good did Varahadev do? What is the purpose of Lord Ram setting such a good example? None of this is so significant. The main thing is that the Lord has come as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore everyone is blessed. So this is transcendental, of course. All of these incarnations are all wonderful. But still, Mahaprabhu is very, very special. Very, very important. Sabaya Avatar, Sarasiromani, Kevala Ananda Kanda. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and he teaches Harinam Sankirtan. He not just teaches Harinam Sankirtan, but he comes and he has so many philosophical dialogues. Mahaprabhu meets with many, many different religions, isn't it? He meets with Buddhists, he meets with Muslims, Chandkazi, Pathans. So like this, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, you will see Mahaprabhu is meeting with many, many different religions and having many, many dialogues. But Mahaprabhu is not just meeting with different religions. Even within the Vedic religion, he is meeting with all the different schools of thought. Therefore, in the Vedic tradition, broadly speaking, there is Dvaita and Advaita. And Mahaprabhu is also meeting with all of them. So he is meeting with impersonalists, Prakashananda Saraswati, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, like this, many, many dialogues. But even within the personalists, within the Vaishnavas, Mahaprabhu is speaking with everyone. isn't it? He speaks to those from the Sri Sampradaya, Vyankatabhata. He speaks to those from the Nimbarka Sampradaya, Keshav Kashmiri. He speaks to those from the Rudra Sampradaya, Vishnu Swami line, Vallabhacharya. He speaks to those in the Madhva line, the Tattvavadis, isn't it, when he goes to Udupi. So like that, you can see that Mahaprabhu is also speaking to all the different Vaishnavas. But then Mahaprabhu, even within Gaudiya Vaishnavism, has conversations where he reveals the essence. So you can see how Mahaprabhu speaks to all the religions, but then within the Vedic tradition, he speaks to all the traditions. But then within the personalist tradition, he speaks to all the Vaishnavas. But then amongst the Vaishnavas, the Gaudiyas, he has conversations where he reveals the essence of the purest and sweetest type of love. Lochan Das Thakur says, everyone in Kali Yuga is burning from lust. So he says, Mahaprabhu appears on the horizon of Gauda like a bank of clouds. And before that bank of cloud can start raining, there must be thunder. So Lochan Das Thakur said, Mahaprabhu is like the bank of clouds, and Advaita Acharya is like the thunder. Because it was his loud calls, isn't it? Hunkara, that called Mahaprabhu down. So then Lochan Das Thakur says, once the thunder comes and the clouds arrive, then the clouds start raining. And what is the rain that comes from the clouds of Mahaprabhu? What is that rain, that nectar that comes from Mahaprabhu? Lochan Das Thakur says, it's the words which are coming out of the mouth of Ramananda Rai. Interesting. When Mahaprabhu wants to rain mercy in this world, then he doesn't do it himself. Instead, what he does is he asks Ramananda Rai questions, and then Ramananda Rai begins to reveal the nectar of Krishna Prem. Therefore, Mahaprabhu looks at Ramananda Rai and he says, Ami eka batul tumi dvitiya batul ata eva amai tomai hoyasa matul. Mahaprabhu says, I am one madman. You are 1 second madman. And when two mad people come together, then mad things begin to happen. So therefore, from the mouth of Ramananda Rai, so much nectar is coming. And then Lochan Das Thakur says, the cloud is come. The cloud has thundered. The cloud is raining. But then there must be lightning. So who is the lightning? Lochan Das Thakur says, the lightning is Rupa and Sanatan. Because the devotees are very humble. They don't want to come to the front. They don't want to advertise themselves. But they are so glorious that they cannot hide. They are, in Sanskrit we say, self-luminous, self-effulgent. Their glory is revealed to the world. So Lochan Das Thakur says, Rupa and Sanatan are the most illustrious devotees. They are like the lightning. And then, beautiful picture, no? Mahaprabhu is like the clouds. The thunder is? The rain is coming from whose mouth? And who is the lightning? Then what do you think Nityananda is? According to Lochan Das Thakur's metaphor. He says Nityananda is like the wind. Because what happens is Mahaprabhu is raining down all this nectar, and Nityananda comes like the wind. And what the wind does is it distributes that rain in all directions, even the place where the rain doesn't come down. Therefore, Nityananda is like the wind. And all the devotees who are following Nityananda, the representatives, the gurus, they are similarly like that wind, sharing the nectar. And then Lochandas Thakur says there is one more person. And while everyone is enjoying the rain, this person is also enjoying the rain. But what this person does is they take a pot and they collect some of that rain. Because what they want to do is they want to share that rain of nectar with the future generations. Who do you think that person is? Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padejara Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. When Mahaprabhu is raining down the mercy, then Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he comes and he holds a pot and he collects that nectar. And he says, I will store this nectar. And then for generations to come, anyone who wants to experience this nectar, I have saved it in the pot. Chaitanya Charitamrita Nityakarapan Jaha hoite premananda bhakti tattva gyan. He says in Chaitanya Charitamrita, my dear brothers, my dear sisters, every single day read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Jaha hoite, by doing so, premananda, you will experience the happiness of love, bhakti tattva gyan, and simultaneously you will learn all the secrets of devotion. So Chaitanya Charitamrita is very, very special literature, very, very confidential. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, a time will come in the future when people will learn Bengali only so they can read Chaitanya Charitamrita. Can you imagine? Can you imagine learning a language, a whole language? You learn the whole language just so you can read one book. But it's no ordinary book. It's a very, very powerful book. Shruyatam, Shruyatam Nityam, Gyatam, Gyatam Muda, Chintyatam, Chintyatam Bhaktas, Chaitanya, Charitamritam. Kaviraj Goswami says that we must hear, we must reflect, and we must constantly share and repeat Chaitanya Charitamrita, because the essence of everything is in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So, of the many, many conversations that take place in Chaitanya Charitamrita, the conversation between Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, this is perhaps the most confidential conversation. Maybe some of you in this room think you have read all of Srila Prabhupada's books. But there is one book that many are not aware of. One Srila Prabhupada book. Life's In Search of Life's Ultimate Goal. Do you know this book? Many devotees don't know this book. When Srila Prabhupada was in Radha Damodar, Srila Prabhupada wrote a book. And it was a book which was the conversation between Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. This book was written in the 50s. And what happened is that that manuscript was lost for a long time. And later on, they rediscovered it in Radha Damodar temple. And so, this is maybe one book that you have not read. No? In Search of Life's Ultimate Goal. I'm saying it right, no? Does anyone know this book? In Search of the Ultimate Goal of Life. So it's available free on the internet. So if you have not read it, then you can read this book. This is very, very confidential conversation. See, when Krishna appeared, then on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Arjun was asking Krishna so many questions. Karpanya dosho pahatasva bhava prachamitvam dharma shamuda cheta yachreya shanishchitam bruhitan me shishyaste ham sadhimam tvam prapannam. Arjun said, I'm your Shishya, I'm your disciple. And therefore I am Dharma Shamuda, I'm very confused about my duty. And therefore, Krishna, now I will ask you many, many questions. And then Krishna began to answer. But when Krishna came in the next incarnation, then Krishna said to Arjun, now I will ask you questions. And therefore that same Arjun reappeared in Chaitanya Leela as Ramananda Rai. Of course, Ramananda Rai has multiple identities, but he appeared again as Ramananda Rai. And this time, Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, started asking him questions. When they arrived at the Godavari river, then as soon as Mahaprabhu saw Ramananda Rai, then Mahaprabhu just immediately hugged him. Mahaprabhu had very, very long arms. Ajanulambito pujo kanaka vadato samkirtane kapitaro kamalaya taksho Vishvambaro dvijavaro yugadharma palo vande jagat priyakaro karunavataro. You can check when you go home today. If you stand up straight, you put your arms down and your arms reach your knees, then you are a Mahapurush. I don't think so it will happen. Mahaprabhu was nearly 7 foot tall, over 7 foot, no? But his arms reached down to his knees. So you can imagine when Mahaprabhu lifted his arms in Harinam Sankirtan. But it's also mentioned Alingana, that Mahaprabhu would embrace. This embrace means he was giving everyone a chance. Even if you are very far away, Mahaprabhu will bring you close. So Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai, they are hugging, they are embracing. This is very significant. Because between Ramananda Rai and Mahaprabhu, there is a gap. Mahaprabhu is God. Ramananda Rai is a jiva. But still Mahaprabhu is bringing him close. Mahaprabhu is a Brahmin. Ramananda Rai is a Kayasta. But still Mahaprabhu is bringing him close. Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. Ramananda Rai is a grihasta. But still he is bringing him close. Mahaprabhu has no position. Ramananda Rai is a part of royalty, but still they are coming close. See, so like this, when Mahaprabhu embraces Ramananda Rai, this is very, very significant because it means on the material platform, no matter how far away we feel we are from Krishna, Mahaprabhu can still bring us very, very close. And so Mahaprabhu begins to ask Ramananda Rai different questions. It's said in his life, Mahaprabhu had 3 initiations. First initiation was from his spiritual master where he received Harinam Diksha. Who was that from? Ishwarapuri. Isn't it? He went to Ishwarapuri and Ishwarapuri told him, Murkhadumi tomar nahik Vedanta adhikar Krishna mantra japa sada e mantra shar. You're a fool. You have no qualification to study Vedanta. Krishna mantra japa sada. Just chant Krishna's name. A mantra sar. This is the essence of everything. Mahaprabhu began chanting and then he came back. And you know, famously, Kiba mantra dile goshai kiba tarabal. Japite japite mantra korite pagal. What kind of mantra have you given me, O Gosai? I'm chanting it again and again and I'm becoming completely mad. Ishwarapuri told him, yes, this is the goal of Bhagavatam. Ishwarapuri told Mahaprabhu, there is one verse which is the essence of Bhagavatam. If I was to ask you which is the verse which is the essence of Bhagavatam, what would you say? Which verse? Guess. Which is the most important verse in Bhagavatam? Ete chamsha kalapumsha Krishnastu Bhagavan Svayam. No. Try again. Nama sankirtanam yasya sarva papa pranashanam. No. Try again. Sarva, this is not Bhagavatam. But everything is Bhagavatam. Yes. Sarvapadi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam. No. Try again. Jnane prayasanudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrutikatam tanuvan manobirye prayaso jita jito prasite strilokyam. No. Savai pumsham paro dharmo yato bhakti radhok sajay ahai dukiya pratihata yayatma suprasidati. No. We could be here all day. I don't think you're going to get it. Hare Nama, Hare Nama. No. No. Ishvara Puri told him there's one verse, which is the Bhagavata Sar. Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya jatanurago dhrutachittu uche hasatyatiro ditiroti gayati unmadavanrityati lokabhaya. He said this is the essence of Bhagavatam. According to Ishvara Puri, this is the most important verse. What does this verse say? Evam vratasva priyanama kirtya. When you take the Naam, when you take the name of Krishna and you chant it with determination and great love, then what happens? Hasatyati, you begin laughing. Roditi, you begin crying. Unmadavan nrityati, you begin dancing like a madman. And you become completely indifferent to public opinion. This, dear friends, is the goal of Bhagavatam, to become completely mad. If one day you find yourself laughing uncontrollably, crying, not just because you got COVID-19 or something. If you find you begin dancing uncontrollably and you become so immersed that you don't, sometimes we are dancing in the kirtan, but still we are thinking like, how is everyone? Everyone is looking at me. If you become so immersed that you lose all awareness of everything, then you have actually understood Bhagavatam. You have to become mad. So Mahaprabhu's first initiation was from Ishvara Puri, Korite Pagal. He became completely mad. But then later on, he wanted to become even more mad because he wanted to situate himself in Radha Bhav. And in order to situate himself in Radha Bhav, he had to become Vyavasayatmika, which means one-pointed. And therefore Mahaprabhu decided to take sannyas. So then his second initiation was from Keshav Bharati. And then Mahaprabhu's ecstasy went even higher, because now as a sannyasi he was traveling, there was no other diversion, simply he was situated in Radha Bhav. But then it said that the third initiation which Mahaprabhu took increased his ecstasy even higher. And that third initiation is known as Raga Marg initiation. And this was from Ramananda Rai. Because the words that came from Ramananda Rai's mouth, this revealed to Mahaprabhu, of course, the deepest love of Srimati Radharani. So this is a very, very powerful conversation. Mahaprabhu begins the conversation by asking Ramananda Rai, what is life's ultimate goal? So the first answer Ramananda Rai gives, Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam gunakarma vibhagasha. The first answer Ramananda Rai gives is that the ultimate goal of life is that you have varna, you have ashram. So you should follow your varna and your ashram. If you're a grihastha, be a grihastha. If you're a brahmachari, be a brahmachari. Don't be a brahmastra. There's a funny story that Aindra Prabhu was in Vrindavan. So His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Maharaj was the temple president. So at one time they thought Aindra Prabhu had put on Babaji dress. So he was the temple president. So the board told him, you have to go to Aindra Prabhu and you have to ask him, what ashram are you in? We need to confirm, has he taken Babaji initiation? So Kadamba Kanana Maharaj, he went to Aindra Prabhu and he said, the management is asking, which ashram are you in? He said, I am a Brahmastra Vanyasi. The Avadut style, you know. So Ramananda Rai says, no, Varna and Ashram. If you're Brahmin, Samadamastapa Socham, Kshantirarjavamevacha, Jnanam Vijnanam Ashtikyam, Brahma Karma Svabhavajam. You have to know your karma and then you dedicate it to Krishna. So Mahaprabhu hears this. Following Varnashram, the goal of life, Eho Bhaya, Age Kaho Ar. This is external. Say something more. Say something deeper. So then Ramananda Rai gives another answer. Yad karoshi yadashnashi yad johoshi dadashi yad tapash shikonteya tad kurushva madarpanam. He says, yes, not just follow Varnashram, but dedicate everything to Krishna. Offer all the results of your activities to Krishna. Whatever you have is for Krishna. Otherwise, sometimes we are very calculative. 1 for Krishna, 2 for me. 2 for Krishna, something for me. But when one offers all of the results, Manasa deho geho, jo kichumor, arpila tue pade, nanda kishore. So Mahaprabhu is hearing. Mahaprabhu looks at Ramananda Rai. Eho bhaya ge kaho ar. This is external. This is not life's ultimate goal. No, life's is Gita. No, there's more. You say something more. So then Ramananda Rai, 3rd verse. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam saranam braja hamtam sarva papebhyo moksha yishyami ma sucha. Ramananda Rai says, this must be the ultimate goal of life. Krishna says, paramam vacha, this is the highest instruction. Don't argue now on this point. Krishna says, renounce everything and just surrender to me. Mahaprabhu says, Eho bhaiya, that's external. It's external. Krishna says, Shrinu me paramam vacha. It's just here my supreme instruction. Mahaprabhu says, no, age kaho ar. There's something more you can say more than this. Because the essence of this verse is still renunciation. Renunciation is not the goal. Just because you are renounced doesn't mean that you are advanced, isn't it? Once someone came to his guru and he said, I think I'm ready for sannyas. I said, why? He said, my wife died and I never dropped one tear. I never cried. Definitely, I'm ready for sannyas. His guru looked at him and said, go back and get married again. If you can't cry, if you have such a hard heart, if you're so cold, how you will be able to cry for Krishna? The goal is not renunciation. Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, he said, our goal is not to become free of attachment. Our goal is to become slaves of love. Not trying to become free from attachment. Try to become a slave of love. That's more important. So Mahaprabhu says, Aage kaho, say something more. Then Ramananda Rai quotes another verse. It's amazing because Ramananda Rai is Arjun. So Arjun heard all these verses from Krishna only. And now he's saying these same verses back. So now he says, say something more. Brahma bhuta prashanatma sochati nakamshati samasarveshu bhuteshu madbhaktim labate param. He says, the supreme goal of life is to be situated on the Brahman platform, and from there you can render pure devotional service. Mahaprabhu says, Aage kaho, say something more. Then it's not that any of these answers are wrong. All of these answers are actually right. But there is deeper and deeper understanding. And therefore the final verse, all of you know, that Ramananda Rai quotes. And when he quotes this verse, then Mahaprabhu accepts. Jnane prayasamudapasya namanta eva jivanti sanmukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrudigatam tanuvan manobhir ye prayaso jita jitopyasite strilokyam. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. It doesn't matter whatever difficulties or problems or complexities may be there. Stane stita. Just stay where you are. Shruti gatam tanuvan manobhir, and just engage your mind in hearing and chanting about Krishna. We always think that the solution to my life is to change something externally. But no matter how many external changes you make, the material world will always be complex. The solution is not to change anything externally. The solution is that internally we develop just such a fire of love for Krishna that everything externally doesn't matter anymore. So when Mahaprabhu heard this, that just become absorbed in the name, the narrations, just become absorbed in Hari Kirtan, Hari Katha, Mahaprabhu says, yes, this is good. And now make it even deeper. And then they continue on. And Ramananda Rai reveals different rasas. And then eventually he reveals the love of the gopis and the love of Srimati Radharani. So like this, it's a very, very beautiful conversation. Remember, Mahaprabhu is like the clouds. Advaita Acharya is like the thunder. Rupa and Sanatan are the lightning. Nityananda is like the wind. And Krishnadas Kaviraj is coming to catch the nectar. But what is that nectar? That nectar is coming from the mouth of Ramananda Rai. And therefore, one should study this conversation very deeply. This is the nectar that Mahaprabhu wanted to reveal to the world. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So, yes, I didn't plan to speak so long, but
we can take some question answers.
If there are some questions on
Hare
this
Krishna.
topic.
If anybody
Yes.
has any questions to ask, they can raise hand and we'll give the mic.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for a wonderful class. So can you explain what the difference between Yad Karoshi, Yad Nashi verse and Sarvadharman Parityaja? Little more explanation.
So what is the difference between Yad Karoshi and Sarva Dharman Parityaja? In Yad Karoshi, Yad Ashnashi, one is giving, but they are still attached to the activity. They are still attached to the way in which they will serve Krishna. So they're detached from the result, but they're still attached to the activity, isn't it? Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says that in the mature stage of love, for example, if a boy and girl love each other, then it doesn't matter whether they go to the park or whether they go to the cinema or whether they go to the shopping mall. Main thing is that they're together. The activity is secondary, doesn't matter. So, in this stage, Yad Karoshi, one is giving everything, but they're still attached to the activity. That means that they haven't become sufficiently enchanted by the character of Krishna. So, when one comes to Sarva Dharman Parityaja, then it means that they are no longer attached to even the activity, just everything, ready to do whatever Krishna wants, like that. Does that make sense?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Would you mind sharing with us a little bit about your journey till now in Krishna consciousness?
My journey?
Briefly, what are possible?
How did you become a devotee, like that?
After you became devotee, like I've been hearing a lot, but from you, we want to hear a little. How you became devotee?
After I became a devotee, the devotees took over my life. I think for all of us, the story is the same. The details are different, but the story is the same. You were going on in your life, and then the devotees appeared and they turned everything upside down. Therefore, I say the devotees are like agents of Vamandev. What would you like? No, nothing much. 3 steps. You don't have to change anything, don't worry. Just one round. Just one round, you don't have to change your life. Yeah, right. Not so impressive. So I grew up in London and my parents are from India. So I was going to the manor from birth, practically, Bhaktivedanta Manor. But when I was 15, then I became more interested to actually understand what Hinduism is. So I started reading the Gita. And then 16, I started chanting. We had a youth group there. We have a youth group there called Pandav Sena. So I thought it was some kind of revolutionary group, Pandav Sena. So I joined. So then, we got more and more involved. Then I went to university when I was 18. So I was living in the university residence, but it was just behind Soho. We have another temple in London, Radha Landanishvara. So I was going there, free food. Students. And then I just got more and more interested. And then when I was 21, then I decided, I had to leave to try to understand how to serve Krishna in this life. So it was very difficult with family. Sridhar Swami used to say, for most people, the problem in Krishna consciousness is mahapap. They've done too many bad activities. But for Indians, it's ma-bap. So very difficult. All of you know, some of you brahmacharis know. my father came into the temple. He said, I want to meet the temple president. So we had a meeting with the temple president. They said, you have to send him home, you have to send him home. So finally the temple president looked at my father, he said, this boy, he's gone mad. He said, you better let us take care of him, otherwise he's going to run away somewhere. So like this, he convinced my father. Anyway, then, but I couldn't stay in London. It was too difficult, too emotional. So then at 21, I came here. I came to Mumbai. I stayed in Chowpatty for 6 months. So that was very Krishna's arrangement. That was very wonderful. At that time, Chowpatty was not as huge as it is now. It was still it was there, but it was very nice. His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj was there. So I stayed there for 6 months. I was very fortunate. But then visa ran out. Had to go back to London. So then I went back to London and then I joined there at the temple. And then for a few years, I did college preaching, university preaching. We used to go to all the universities in the UK. And then for about 15 years, we did traveling Sankirtan around the UK. So book distribution on the streets, very amazing. Krishna's mercy. And then 20 years passed like that. And then my spiritual master told me, next step. So then I took sannyas when I was 41. So now coming to 44. Still learning, still trying to serve Krishna. Something about my journey. Not so impressive, but trying to serve Krishna. Yes.
Hare Krishna. Krishna Maharaj. So, in the 6 Goswamis which we have, do you think they are the incarnation of gopis? They are the gopis, and so I read it somewhere that they are the gopis. That is one question. And second is, the people who doesn't know Gauranga Mahaprabhu, if I have to give them that, what is the takeaway or the application in daily life they can do from this, entire Mahaprabhu? So what that maybe means, let's say somebody who doesn't know Mahaprabhu that night, and I have to tell them that this is the life takeaway or this is the practical applications which you really can do it from here. So what that can be.
Thank you. So let's begin there. How do we explain Mahaprabhu to the world? When a child doesn't know how to write, then what the parent will do is the parent will come from the back, hold the hand of the child, hold the pen, and say, let's write together. So, in this age, we can share with people that it's very, very difficult to be spiritual. Therefore, E Mata Bhakta Bhav Kori Angikar Apani Achari Bhakti Korila Prachar. Therefore, Krishna says, in this age, how I will teach people. I can't just tell them because they are very, very far away. They are like a child. They cannot even hold the pen. Therefore, what I will have to do, Bhakta Bhav, Kori Angikar. I have to come in the Bhakta Bhav. I have to come in the mood of a devotee. And therefore, by coming in the mood of a devotee, I have to teach them by my example, Apani Achari Bhakti, Korila Prachar. I'll teach by my own achar, my own example. So like this, we can explain to people that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the most amazing incarnation because it's when God comes as a devotee. Sometimes I tell people, if you come across a theology where the devotee cries for God, this is very advanced. But if you come across a theology where God cries for the devotee, this is even more advanced. But if you come across a theology where God becomes a devotee to cry for himself, this is the most advanced. This is Gaudiya Vaishnavism. God becomes a devotee to cry for himself. Therefore, Mahaprabhu is very, very powerful. You see, he was conquered by the love of Srimati Radharani, so he comes in. Radharani made Krishna, see, isn't it? Like sometimes we say, oh, Prabhu is a very powerful devotee. He's made many devotees. Radharani is the most powerful because she made God into a devotee. If you can make God a devotee, you might be powerful. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is very, very confidential. So like this, people are fascinated if you tell them. You won't find this in any theology in the world. No religion will talk about this, that God becomes his own devotee. This is unheard of. This is only in Gaudiya Vaishnavism. You cannot find this anywhere else. You cannot even find it within the Vedic tradition. This is very unique. So like this, we can explain to Mahaprabhu, to others. And yes, the Goswamis, they are gopis, they are more specifically, they are manjaris. So Radha and Krishna are being served by the Sakhis. Isn't it? In Mayapur, you have the Asta Sakhi. So they are the 8 gopis who are the confidential servants. But it's said that every Sakhi is having a certain number of manjaris that are assisting. And therefore, the manjaris, they are sometimes even more confidential servants because sometimes they see the pastimes of Radha and Krishna that even sometimes the Sakhis don't see. Therefore, yes, the Goswamis of Vrindavan, they are the manjaris. So Rupa Goswami is Rupa Manjari, like that. Raghunath Das Goswami is Rati Manjari, no? Is that? Am I right? Am I right? Like this, you have to check. But they are, yes. So yes, it's explained.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Maharaj, for your deep insight into the passion of Lord Chaitanya. You're speaking about how Lord Chaitanya dealing with different sampradayas, especially in the Vaishnavism. We find interestingly Mahaprabhu spending a lot of time with Sri Vaishnavas, especially because he stayed in the house of Venkata. 4 months he met Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Prabhupada Saraswati became, as you explained, so much deep appreciation for Mahaprabhu. Any reason Mahaprabhu chose to spend so much time with Sri Vaishnavism? Because when he conversed with Tattvavadis, the followers of Madhvacharya, he kind of asked question on what is the sadhya and sadhana. And eventually he said that I find 2 fault in your sampradaya because of mixture of karma and jnana. That's the 2 fault I can see in your sampradaya. However, one thing is good because you accept Sri Archa Vigraha to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But we find Mahaprabhu spending a lot of time, any reason you have discovered, you want to hear Maharaj.
The Sri Vaishnavas, why Mahaprabhu spent so much time, Yeah, this is very, very interesting. We are the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, but actually many scholars also say that the Gaudiya Sampradaya in one sense is much closer to Sri Sampradaya in terms of principles. Well, the first thing we can say is that whenever Mahaprabhu performs his pastimes, there is an external reason and there's an internal reason. Mahaprabhu goes to Puri. External reason because Sachimata asked. Internal reason because Puri is Viraha Kshetra, it's the place of separation. Mahaprabhu goes to Rath Yatra. External reason because there he can preach to the whole of India in one place. Internal reason because Srimati Radharani is wanting to take Krishna back to Vrindavan. He wants to experience that mood. Mahaprabhu takes sannyas. External reason, preach. Sannyasi must keep moving, therefore good for preaching. Internal reason, vyavasayadmika buddhi. Now he wants to intensify Radha Bhav. So, Mahaprabhu goes to South India and particularly to Sri Rangam. External reason, to preach or to stay with Vyankatabhata because it's Chaturmasya. External reason. Internal reason, because Gopal Bhatta is there. And actually, Mahaprabhu, what he's most interested in is giving Gopal Bhatta his association, because in the future, Gopal Bhatta will be one of his main leaders. And so we can say that Mahaprabhu spends time with the Sri Vaishnavas, mainly Vyankatabhata. Why so many months? Actually, we can say because Mahaprabhu knew that one of his eternal associates are there and that in the future he will bring him to Vrindavan to solidify his movement. So we can say that's one reason that Mahaprabhu spends so much time there. The other thing we can say is that from every Sampradaya, Mahaprabhu is taking different principles. So from the Sri Sampradaya, Mahaprabhu is taking Vaishnav Seva, and I can't remember the second one, if someone remembers. Pure devotion. Yeah, so these two principles are very, very important. Of all of the principles, we could say these are two of the main things that Mahaprabhu wanted to teach the world. Therefore, although he takes two from each, these two are specifically very, very important. Vaishnav Seva and pure devotional service, like that. So yes, it's mysterious, Mahaprabhu's. And you see, this is also a not controversial point, but a point of discussion, that in one sense we say we are Brahma Madhva, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Actually, there's a debate over that because Madhvas don't accept. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he says that actually the Gaudiya Sampradaya, it cannot be aligned to any of these. He says it is a Metta Sampradaya. You understand the word? Metta? Is it now they have no? Metta. Metta means it sits above everything. Is it? Like we say, metaphysical, isn't it? So metta means that which sits above everything. So actually, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that we are not actually in any of these four sampradayas. We are the metta sampradaya. We sit above all of these, like that. So this question of sampradaya is an interesting philosophical discussion. Can look more into it. Thank you. I don't know how we're doing for time. Probably it's 10:30.
If you have time, you can take questions.
Okay. I mean, but all of you have been sitting so long since 8 o'clock.
You have taken prasad, no problem.
Okay. If someone needs to go for some fresh air, no problem.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for a wonderful class. As you said that Rup and Sanatan are the most illustrious personality and they are lightning. But then why we see that many songs like of Narottam Das Thakur and others, there is Rupa Raghunath is the main focus. Rupa Raghunath Pade Hoi Beakuti. So that's what I wanted to know. What is the context actually in saying Rup Raghunath and then Rup Sanatan and some other places?
Yeah, thank you so much. So, okay, there could be different answers to this. I'll first tell you one thing which I don't fully understand myself, but maybe this is also a key to understanding it. There is one letter where Srila Prabhupada writes that of the 6 Goswamis, 2 are Nitya Siddhas and 4 are Sadhana Siddhas. Don't ask me to explain this. I'm just telling you what Prabhupada said. So Prabhupada writes that actually Rupa and Raghunath are Nitya Siddha and the other 4 are Sadhana Siddha. Now we could have a whole discussion on what that means. But clearly what's being said here is that Rupa and Raghunath have a specific, special position. Even though Sanatan is the oldest, Rupa and Raghunath have a special position because Rupa is Rasacharya. He's the teacher of Rasa. And Mahaprabhu has come to give Prema Rasa. And Raghunath Das Goswami is the Prayojana Acharya. He is the Acharya who is teaching spontaneous Radha Dasyam. You see, the ultimate aspirations of the Goswami, of the Gaudiyas, is to become a servant of Srimati Radharani. Again, this is confidential, very advanced. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, some people are interested in Radharani because of her connection with Krishna. But we are interested in Krishna because of his connection with Radharani. Harshnas are worshippers of Krishna. Vaishnavas are worshippers of Vishnu. But Gaudiyas are worshippers of Radharani. So, Raghunath Das Goswami is known as Prayojana Acharya, and on the banks of Radha Kund, he is said to be the one who has illuminated Radha Dasyam. Therefore, he writes Vilapa Kusumanjali, in which he's talking about Radha Kund and he's talking about Shrimati Radharani's resplendent love. So, therefore, we can say Rupa and Raghunath are having a special position because of what they are teaching. What they are teaching is the more confidential aspects of Ujjvala Bhakti, which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach. The other thing we can say is that Rupa and Raghunath, it can also be to do with the individual's relationship with them. For example, at the end of every chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying, Rupa Raghunatha Pade Jare Ash Chaitanya Charitamrita Kohe Krishnadas. So, why does Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami direct his respects to them? Because as we said, Rupa is the leader, but Raghunath Das Goswami was also his Shiksha Guru. Because Raghunath Das Goswami gave him all the information in order to write Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he said that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was hearing 3 hours of Gaura Leela Katha every single day from Raghunath Das Goswami. So it can also sometimes be to do with the individual and their relationship with them. But the main thing is that they are revealing the confidential type of love. You want to respond?
Yes, Maharaj, thank you for this answer. And also I had the same doubt which you mentioned. Actually, I read that letter also, but I didn't understand that what is meant. Because we see in Gaur Garudesh Deepika, there are mentions of who are who. So it seems like all are eternal only. And we see that from birth only they are exhibiting symptoms of pure devotee.
Yeah.
So that letter does not make much sense to me actually. So, okay.
Yeah, it's, I don't have an answer for that. I also, if anyone wants to give us an answer, or offer some reflection. You're welcome. It's hard to say what does Srila Prabhupada mean by this. A philosophical speculation, if we're allowed, could be that it's not that they are actually sadhana siddhas, but they're showing the example of a sadhana siddha. It would be hard to make a case that they are sadhana siddhas because they're nitya parishads, they're all manjaris. So maybe it's that they're showing the example of sadhana siddha through their life. I don't know, someone could make that case. But yeah, I don't have a definitive answer. Some things are beyond our buddhi.
Anybody else? Let me see how many of you have questions? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay.
All right, sure.
Rich. Maharaj, I have 2 questions. One is, you were mentioning that Lord Chaitanya... you were mentioning that Lord Chaitanya, he got 3rd initiation from Ramananda Rai in the Ragaman. So I just wanted to know, that's the
It's not an official initiation. It wasn't like an official, but some Vaishnava poets say like that it was Ramananda Rai who Mahaprabhu submitted to him like that so that Ramananda Rai could reveal the Raga Marg. So it's not a formal initiation. The other 2 are very formal. But we can say it's informal. Mahaprabhu took him like a guru, like that. Mahaprabhu submitted to him. But it wasn't like a formal initiation like that. Because basically in the awakening of spontaneous devotion, my God, today we're going in very deep topics. You all are very deep. In Raganuga, in the path of Raganuga, the idea is, so Rupa Goswami writes nectar of instruction. And then amongst all the nectar of instruction, he says one instruction is the Upadesa Sar. Tannama Rupa Charita Disukirtananu Shmityo Kramena Rasana Manasi Niyojya Tistan Vraje Tadanuragi Jananugami Kalam Nayad Akilamityupadesha Saram. So in this verse, he says the essence of all instructions is that one should spend 24 hours a day in Braj. And how does one do that? Tistan vraje tadanuragi jananugami. That one should follow. One should follow in the footsteps of a resident of Braj. And in that way, one should hear from a Raganuga Bhakta. So the path of Raganuga Bhakti is that when one is sufficiently advanced and purified, then one must hear from a Raganuga Bhakta. Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hoya Sadhu Sang. Krishna Prema Janma Teho Puna Mukhya Ang. Therefore, Mahaprabhu showed that I have to hear from a raga, someone who has rag. Mahaprabhu showed that example. And therefore it said that he took an initiation from him, although it was not formal, like in that sense. Does that make sense?
I just an extension, like who mentions it? Vaishnava poet, you said some Vaishnava poets mentioned.
So if you look at Satyaraj Prabhu's book on Mahaprabhu, he quotes this. I can't remember who he's quoting. We can find out. He quotes it in his book on Mahaprabhu. That some commentators say like that. So, yeah.
And I wanted to ask that we see that in general people are so much into passion and ignorance, and they hardly know about Lord Chaitanya or So what is the best way, like what do we give them by which they can get attracted to Lord Chaitanya?
They are the best. Patita pavana hetu tavaya avatar mosama patita prabhu na pai behar. You are the deliverer of the most fallen. The more fallen someone is, the more qualification they have. So actually, being fallen is a great qualification to get Mahaprabhu's mercy. So therefore, but yes, you're saying, how do we explain Mahaprabhu to others? How do we, sometimes people are not aware, they don't know Shastra, they don't understand Mahaprabhu's position. Generally, what we are doing is more than necessarily philosophically convincing someone of Mahaprabhu. What we are trying to do is allow them to taste the nectar of the holy name. Therefore, the holy name can reach anywhere. The holy name can reach anyone. Namno hi yavati shakti papa nirharane hare. Therefore, the Nam has the Shakti. And when one takes shelter of Nam, then the realization of Mahaprabhu's glories will arise within their heart. Therefore, for us, maybe we are not so much philosophically trying to convince in the beginning people about Mahaprabhu, but what we're trying to do is maybe share the nectar of the holy name, and the purification and realization which comes from that can then allow one to understand Mahaprabhu. Some things.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for your wonderful you mentioned similar question like Anand Bhagavan Prabhu. 3 initiations of Mahaprabhu. First by Ishwar Puri, second by Keshava Maharaja, and third by Ramananda. You mentioned the third initiation is the initiation to Ragamarg. I heard this word many times, Ragamarg, and I'm getting confused that with the Raganuga Bhakti. Is it something similar or are they different? Ragamarg has its own. I heard that Ragamarg has its own Anudinavritti, Ragamarg has its own Nishtha, Ragamarg has its own Bhava, Prema. Similarly, like Vaidhi Bhakti has its own Nishtha, Bhava, Prema. Is the Ragamarg something used in a flexible way, or is it a Raganuga Bhakti which starts after Nishtha? Is it that signifies that or this? I'm not able to understand that.
Yeah, so there are, so let's begin. First, who asked very confidential question. 10:42. Okay, let me try. I am a neophyte. I'm just telling you theoretically what I understand. So broadly speaking, there are 3 stages. Vaidhi, Bhava, Prema. Okay. So now it's said that there are 2 tracks within these 3. One is a Vaidhi path, which leads to a certain type of bhava and a certain type of prema. And then there is a type of Vaidhi which can lead to rag. And then that will lead to a different type of bhav and a different type of prema. This sweetness is what Mahaprabhu came to give. Chirakali nahe kare prema bhakti dan raga. How does that verse go? Raga marga bhakti.
Prema Bhakti Nirasa Kore Kore.
Yeah, anyway, you know that verse. So, understood? Sadhana, bhava, prema. One type of sadhana is the Vaidhi route, which can lead to a certain type of bhava and prema, but another type of sadhana, if one gets the association, leads to rag, and that leads to a different type of bhava and prema. Makes sense? So, Raga Nuga is also a sadhana. It's also a practice. but it means that one has awakened some type of spontaneous attraction. And what one is doing in Raganuga Bhakti is they are trying to find a Ragatmika, one whose essence is Rag. And by following that, Tistan Bhaje Tadanuragi Jananugami, by following a Ragatmika, then one can gain entrance into Vrindavan. You can't go into Vrindavan in spontaneous love without following and learning from someone who has spontaneous love. So, although Mahaprabhu is not like a public initiation from Ramananda Rai, the idea is that Mahaprabhu is showing the example that when one has developed a lobha, an intense greed, when one has sufficiently cleared their anarthas and they are at nishta. So in Madhurya Kadambini, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is explaining the characteristics by which you will know whether you're at nishta or not. Just in case we wake up one day and think, oh, nishta, chant some good rounds and then we can check. So once one's anartha nivritti has reached a certain stage and one has developed a certain lobha, a greed to hear about Krishna, then one may come in contact with a Raganuga and in that a Ragatmika, and in that way begin the path of Raganuga. So, but Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, okay, now I go even deeper into it. There are two types of Raganuga. One is called esoteric, and the other one is called exoteric. So one is an external Raganuga path, and one is an internal Raganuga path. It's all very detailed. So external Raganuga path is where you find the Guru, and then they give you Ekadasa Bhav. They tell you 11 things about your eternal identity in the spiritual world. They give you a Siddha Pranali mantra, and then you meditate on that form and like that. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he saw that that was being misused, that people were being cheated. And therefore, he stressed the internal path of Raganuga, which is the complete focus on Nam Sankirtan and the faith and conviction that through Nam Sankirtan, everything will be revealed in terms of the path of Raganuga Bhakti. Therefore, you find that Srila Prabhupada didn't really talk about approaching a Raganuga and Raganuga Bhakti. And of course, he presented it in his books, but he taught us just to focus on chanting the holy name in a pure state of mind. Therefore, they once asked Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, what is the Siddha Pranali of Gaudiya Vaishnavas? Chanadapi Sunichayana Tarodapi Sahishnuna Manina Manadena Kirtaniya Sudhani. So he said, just focus on Nam Sankirtan. How will we know we're ready for Raganuga Bhakti? The purification will come in the heart. Krishna will make all arrangement, and by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, everything we require to develop that deeper type of special love, that will be provided to us. It will come automatically, and one will know at the right time to cultivate it. You don't need to be taught in one sense, it will come, but you just need to be nurtured once it comes. Say, for example, like a small child, if you ask a small boy, 10 years old, they don't like girls at all. They run away from girls. But at a certain point in life, no training required. It goes all the other way around. Because it's there. Nitya Siddha Krishna Prem Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Sudachite Karaye Udoi. So therefore, Raganuga Bhakti is the very special thing that Mahaprabhu came to give But there is a very chaste way, a very pure way of approaching that through Nam Sankirtan. And that's generally what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was teaching and Srila Prabhupada. This is my shallow understanding. I'm a little bit out of my depth here. But
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you for this class. Maharaj, you were mentioning about Srila Prabhupada, and he also took sannyas initiation from Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj.
Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Maharaja.
Achha. So similarly, we see Ramanujacharya also. He received many initiations and he accepted many gurus in his life. So my question was that Srila Prabhupada, although he had guidance of many Vaishnavas after the departure of his guru, he never gave the similar position that he had for his own spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, to anyone else. And he emphasized that, to make the words of his spiritual master as one's life and soul, he refers to one particular person in particular. So, and do you think that a person may accept many spiritual masters in his life for different purposes, but one person remains the most important spiritual mentor in his life?
Wow, nice question. We perhaps cannot make a stereotype. Everyone is different. For example, Srinivasacharya was initiated by formal initiation, Prabhupada Saraswati, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. But Jiva Goswami was his Shiksha Guru. Shyamananda Pandit, initiated by Hridaya Chaitanya. Am I right? But Jiva Goswami was. Gopal Bhatta Goswami, initiated by, I think, Prabhupada Saraswati, right? But Jiva Goswami was his Shiksha. So therefore, we hear this, Guru is one. And so in the life of a devotee, Guru will appear through many Vaishnavas, but there will definitely be a prominent, and that may be one's Diksha Guru, as it was in Srila Prabhupada's case, or it may be one's Shiksha Guru. Because the essence of the relationship between Guru and disciple is Vani, more than the Diksha. It's the instructions that are guiding. So like that, I think you will find, if you look at the history of the parampara, that different individuals are gaining that Vani in different ways. I don't think there's one stereotype way of doing like that. But yes, there will be definitely a prominent guru, either Shiksha or Diksha, who is guiding the disciple.
So, the Siksha is more important for our parampara as we emphasize it.
This is also a big topic. Yeah, I mean, now we were just in Mayapur, and so much talk about guru-disciple relationship and how that will go on in the future. Because yes, the essence, see, in general, in Vedic times, whoever you were getting the most shiksha from naturally became your Diksha Guru. Nowadays, of course, many are not having contact with their Diksha Guru, of course. They're still hearing Vani and classes, so in that way the shiksha is still coming. But in terms of personal guidance, it's maybe limited. So, yes, but you're right. The essence of the guru-disciple relationship is shiksha. But if your Diksha Guru can be your main Shiksha Guru, that's the most natural. But in situations, even in our own recent, like I was mentioning, Srinivasacharya and others, it doesn't always work like that. So, again, yes, Shiksha is the most important. That's not to say Diksha is not important, but all of these relationships are made in order to get Vani, to get instructions, because that's the essence of the relationship. Does that make sense?
Yes, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, we see that Bhaktivinoda Thakur established Gaur Gadadhar worship mainly as per I have heard and seen deities in Mayapur, also many deities. But after that, Srila Prabhupada, we see that everywhere, and I think Bhaktisiddhanta Sri Thakur also established Gaur Nitai worship more. So can you tell why Bhaktivinoda Thakur at that time focused more on Gaur Gadadhar and now why our current acharyas and Srila Prabhupada, and how we can understand the significance of
New
Gaur
Town
Nitai?
is a very esoteric place. I travel halfway across the world and I never received so many esoteric questions. It's very good. We're going very deep. So why are we worshipping Gaur Nitai and not Gaur Gadadhar? Again, I can only give a philosophical speculation. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada, they were very much in the mood of creating a worldwide movement to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. Therefore, when we worship Gaur Nitai, what we're doing is we're actually worshipping Gaur Nitai who are in the mood of Sankirtan. Gaur Nitai on the altar are actually Gauranga and Nityananda on the streets of Nadia, spreading the holy name of Krishna. Actually, it's said that there's Nitya Navadvip, the eternal Navadvip in the spiritual world. And I think if I'm not mistaken, is Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur who writes a book on the eightfold pastimes that happen in Nitya Navadvip. And he's explaining, it's basically Mahaprabhu in the mood of Sankirtan with Nityananda. And so my understanding of why Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Srila Prabhupada established Gaur Nitai worship is because our emphasis as the worldwide Sankirtan movement to spread the holy name is to worship the Lord in that mood. The Lord and Nityananda Prabhu who are going out on the streets and giving out Krishna Prem to everyone without discrimination. That's my understanding. Yeah, someone else can say if they have. We are having a sangha here, so it's not that I'm just on the seat. I have to give that. So maybe someone has some deeper, or not deeper, no pressure. Then you have pressure, and some other. Anyone have any other understanding on this? I'm also interested to hear. Because if you ask esoteric questions, then it means you must have some esoteric realization. So I'm open if anyone would like to share.
Okay, any last question? Okay, so I think one last question from Radha Shantu.
Esoteric or medium?
Medium.
Medium. Okay.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. In Krishna consciousness, when we come initial days, so like new things, we like it. Prashadam, dancing, kirtan, everything. devotee association. So, but like in due course of time, many things comes. Different struggle, Krishna test also, as we have heard, that Krishna give test initially, and then for further test, we have to pay the price. So what should be the consciousness when we go through the bhakti life? What should be our consciousness so that we can go through it, all the tests, and our faith will increase and will be more determined. Our devotion will increase with time.
So how to go through all the tests and stay determined?
Yes.
Spiritual life is difficult, but material life is impossible. If a path doesn't have any obstacles, then it means it doesn't lead anywhere significant. Therefore, the path which has some obstacles, the path which has some opposition, the path which forces you to become deeper, this is the path of growth. Therefore, when difficulties come, we should understand this is Krishna's way of helping me to grow. A teacher sets a test, not because they want all the students to fail. The student sets the test, which is hard, because the teacher wants the students to rise up and go beyond. So teachers are never setting tests to set us up for failure. So in the same way, when we understand Krishna is kind, Krishna will never set me a test so I fail. Krishna must be setting me a test so I can grow. Therefore, not everything that happens is good, but something good can come from everything that happens. Therefore, as devotees, when we go through a difficult situation or any situation, we are not just asking ourselves, how does this make me feel? In the material world, whenever someone's going through a situation, the only question they have on their mind is, how does this make me feel? But a devotee, when they're going through any situation, they are asking the question, what am I supposed to learn? So when you're going through difficulty, don't just ask yourself, how do I feel here? But ask yourself, what can I learn? Like the other day, I had to go for an MRI. I don't know how many of you have done an MRI before, but you have to go in this tube. It's like claustrophobic. You understand? Claustrophobic. It's like you can't move. It's like there's something above your head like this, and you're in this tube, and you can't move 1 inch, otherwise it starts all over again. 1.5 hours. Oh. You can, it's even difficult to breathe. And so first 10 minutes you're in there and the mind is like, my God, I'm going to stay here for one. Then, the more you start thinking about it, how do I feel? I can't move. Then the mind can just, they say 20 to 30% of people come out of an MRI, they can't do it. Because the mind just... So I was in there, and then at one point I just started meditating. Not what do I feel? What am I supposed to learn? So in my mind I just began thinking, what am I supposed to learn? What am I supposed to learn? Anyway, then I fell asleep. It's a good strategy, Devotees can sleep anywhere. I've seen a devotee sleep while they're standing up.
Once there was one devotee, it was in Japa time, so one devotee was sitting on the side. So he was full yoga nidra, he was out. He was ready for sleeping bag, like he was there. And then another devotee was going around Tulsi. So he was also like just about awake, but he was like, Anyway, finally he came right next to this other devotee who was sleeping. So he stood there and then he also fell asleep, this fellow who was standing. So then, boom, they hit each other. So then this guy woke up, this one woke up, and they looked at each other and said, Prabhu, you were sleeping. I say there's two things that impressed me about devotees when I met them first. Three things. First was how much they can eat. Second is they can sleep anywhere. And third thing was impressive that they were working very hard. I was impressed. These are hard-working people. So, anyway, I fell asleep. But the point is, as soon as in a situation you begin thinking, what can I learn? Not just what do I feel? What am I supposed to learn? Then what you will find is that your experience of that situation changes. So therefore, when there is something bad in your life, number one, remember to see all the good around the bad. Number two, remember to see the good that comes from the bad. And number three, try to remember and understand the good that Krishna wants you to develop in order to counteract the bad. Then you can face bad things and still be blissful because you've adjusted your vision. Keep going. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, the obstacles that I face in my devotional service are the greatest source of ecstasy. How is it possible? Because he's seeing that in these obstacles I'm learning so much, and in these obstacles I'm intensifying my seva bhav. And therefore it's the greatest source of happiness. Okay. Hari Hari. So thank you so much, everyone. It's really an honor. I thought this would just be a quick 45-minute class, but all of you were so eager to listen and so attentive. I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much. Wishing you the best. Please forgive me if I made any mistake. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.